Hey, I thought I'd make a new video today for YouTube. This one's going to be about what I eat during the day. And starting out around 10 a.m., I always start my first day, my first meal in a way, is going to be just fruit for the first hour or so. And then around 11 o'clock, I will have my actual lunch. Then about 6 hours later, 7 hours later, I have my dinner. So the first video you'll see is me talking about the fruit that I have during the day. This is what I eat first in the morning. It is 600 grams of watermelon. Wait about 20 minutes and I go into, normally it's the oranges right over there, but today I'm going to be picking the strawberries, about half of that bowl, because they're about to get pretty old. But yeah, that's from what I'd have for my first meal of the day is the watermelon plus another fruit like that. So the reason why I choose watermelon was, this was about a few months ago. And when I first became plant-based, I had switched to eating way more fruit. And at first I was buying oranges, apples, and grapes. Still keep the oranges, because I always love those. But was trying to find something else that I didn't have to go through as quickly and wasn't as expensive. Because grapes, no matter where you get them, they're always going to be the most expensive fruit that you buy. Apples, not as much, but I wanted something with a little more water in it, so I'm more hydrated in the morning. So after a while, my wife actually bought me a watermelon one day, and I really enjoyed it, and I kept buying it ever since, and it's cheaper than buying those other fruits and lasts much longer, especially when they're in season. So I always start out with something that's very full of water during the day for when it comes to fruit, because fruit is the most hydrating food you can have, especially in the morning. You don't want to start out eating a bunch of other stuff like eggs, bread, waffles, bacon, or whatever. That's going to dehydrate you anyways. So I always start my first meal full of water, so I'm not starting out dehydrated. Now the oranges are kind of the same thing. I wanted to find a second fruit that also is high in water and is pretty cheap. And the oranges are cheaper than you would think, even though I eat quite a bit during the week. But yeah, that's what I pretty much do. My first meal is focused on hydration, and then I go into my other stuff throughout the day. So I will show you my lunch in about an hour and a half of what I do. So I'll see you then. All right, now it's time for my lunch, which is going to be a smoothie, and I'll show you what I have in that right now. So as you can see, this is what I have in my smoothie. It's about 4 bananas, 3 to 4, depends on how I'm feeling for the day. About a handful of walnuts, not that entire bowl, it's about half of the bowl. That is soaked ground flax seeds, and then about a handful of dates. Not this entire thing, that's quite a bit. And then over here, what I have cooking is oatmeal with cinnamon and a small, not handful, but decently sized pinch of Himalayan salt in there, and that's cooking in a rice cooker that I started doing a week ago, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago, just because I find it more convenient. But I started to notice that it started to smell and taste better overall, so I started doing that instead. But yeah, I take all these things, all 5 of those things, put them in the blender right there, blend it up, and drink that. So the reason I do a smoothie is because it's more convenient, it's easier to eat, and because I eat a lot of food during the day because I'm very active, way more than the average person. So I need to have at least one of my meals being just liquid, especially with it being 2 meals a day. Having 2 meals of whole foods that are not blended up is really difficult because my dinner is pretty big. So yeah, I started switching to doing a smoothie earlier this year, probably like 4 or 5 months ago. It's been great. Takes no time to eat or make, and also it tastes pretty good, has all the nutrients that I need. So yeah, and also I was trying to find, before I did a smoothie, I was eating 2 whole food meals a day, and it was a lot of time, it was hard to eat, and I was always feeling exhausted because my fruit to other food intake ratio was too low. So I finally figured out that of how cheap bananas were and how easy it is to fit into a meal during the day. So I switched to making a smoothie a while ago just to make it easier on myself, especially so I can have a higher fruit intake. So at first it was bananas with just dates and I believe just oatmeal or walnuts. I can't remember, but it finally became this big more expansive thing of having the dates, bananas, the oatmeal plus the walnuts and the flax seeds, so I can have a decent amount of fat in my diet. Not a lot, but enough to where I'm still getting the nutrients of nuts and seeds. And I was using almonds at first, but almonds they were just harder to blend up and they didn't have as many calories as walnuts do, and I feel like walnuts are less expensive than almonds overall, especially going to Costco. So switch to that, and having a very easy fat source like ground seeds, like the flax seeds that I have over there. With them being ground, they don't take any chewing. You just put them in the smoothie. You don't taste them. It goes down very easily. So I'm looking for things that are easy to eat, quick to eat, easy to digest, because if your digestion is always having an issue, it's going to be hard to even eat throughout the day, and your absorption of food is going to be poor as well. So so having this has been very, very useful for my day, and I don't think I'll be switching it out for anything else. Maybe in the future I would do something. If I needed to eat more, I would just add more of what I'm already having, because this is already perfect enough. But yeah, that is my lunch. Oh, the reason why I soak the flax seeds, I don't buy them whole, I buy them ground from Walmart. They're pretty cheap. I soak them overnight because eating them dry or raw, your body is gonna have a hard time digesting it because of the anti-nutrients that comes from nuts and seeds. So it's always better to have them soaked. It's easier on the body, and it won't be as dehydrating on the body because nuts and seeds are very, very dry. When you soak them, they become fuller but also become softer and more moist, so it's just easier to chew and digest in the body. Same thing why I soak the walnuts or the almonds, which I didn't show you that, but it's the same thing. Nuts, seeds, soak them overnight, and they're pretty good. Dates, actually, I soak quite a bit of things. So the seeds, the nuts, and I do soak the dates overnight. That's because dates are a dry fruit, kind of like a fig or anything like that. And whenever you're eating that in a decent amount regularly, it's also gonna put a lot of work on the body, because the body works better when things have a decent amount of water in them to digest. So whenever you soak them overnight, they become full of water, softer, easier to eat, like the dates and like the seeds and the nuts. So it makes it much easier on the body and digestion system to get it through without any sort of problems. So yeah, that is my lunch. I will show you what I have for dinner later on around, let's say, afternoon, evening, it's like 5 o'clock or somewhere there. So I'll see you then. All right, I'm back from the gym. It's around 5:30 right now, and I haven't eaten since 11 or so. So like I said, 2 meals a day, but I'm about to have my dinner prepared, so I'll go ahead and show you right now. Right here is 600 grams of jasmine rice, 200 grams of black beans, and we'll say half a cucumber. I don't know how much it is, just a handful or so. To the right of that is I'm going to turn to a sauce and put onto the rice. It's sweet potatoes, tomatoes, avocados, pink Himalayan salt, and sweet and spicy Tabasco sauce, which I blend all that up, turn to a sauce, and then pour it over this so I can have a more satisfying meal and a more tasty meal. Also over here I have cooking that is acorn squash that I eat on the side. This is how it looks when it's done. It is a lot of food, but I only eat 2 meals a day, so every meal is going to be kind of big. and I'm very active and I've been active for most of my life, so I need this amount of calories. And as you notice, that's pretty much all carbohydrates and almost no fat, or well, a little bit of fat, but no, almost no protein. It's because I realize you don't need to focus on protein at all. I get maybe 90 grams at most, and it's only half of my body weight. And usually the recommendations are like 0.6 at minimum per pound of body weight, but protein really is more negligent than you actually realize. So I don't really care about it, and I don't feel much different after reducing my protein by a lot. And I'm always trying to reduce my protein because it's just very hard to digest, especially when you only have 2 meals a day, eating whole food, a lot of calories. A lot of protein is really hard to get down, and a lot of protein is actually pretty hard on the body, and it's just easier to do it this way. In total, my meals for the day, or day of eating, is around 3,500 or 3,600 calories in a day, somewhere in there. And as you saw, I have no animal products at all, so no dairy, no meat or anything. So yes, it's a full plant-based vegan meal because I've been like that for a year or so. Don't plan on going back to what I was eating previously because I feel way better on what I'm eating right now, and it's just more enjoyable. But you saw using jasmine rice or white rice because at first I was using a lot of brown rice, whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread, stuff like that. But with the amount of calories that I need, instead of eating 2 meals a day, it makes it incredibly hard for it to digest, and it gave me a lot of issues with it just sitting in my stomach for a long time and always feeling incredibly full, bloated, never that comfortable. So I switched to white rice, and I don't feel any worse, but I definitely have a much smoother time of digestion than eating 600 grams of brown rice or a bunch of whole wheat pasta. So white rice, white pasta, it's fine. Just don't get too concerned about it. The black beans are not for protein. It's just to have another calorie source that, okay, it is kind of like a slight boost in protein, but that's not my concern. It's more so because before the black beans, I was having whole wheat bread as a side to, in a way, use the bread as like a dipping thing, almost like a chip to dip into the rice and the sweet potato sauce. But I switched to this because it takes less time to make it, and it feels easier to go down than having to chomp through a bunch of whole wheat bread. So it's more so just have something else besides just another starch in there. It's not really a protein source. The cucumbers are in there because normally I get zucchini, but to save money, I just get cucumbers from the cafeteria that I go to, and they're kind of like the same thing. And they're also, because I'm always focused on hydration, cucumbers, zucchini, they're basically a fruit, so add that in there. The sweet potatoes, I've always had sweet potatoes in my diet because they taste fantastic. You can eat a lot of them and not feel bad. And it's a good high calorie source without having to get a bunch of extra rice or pasta. And I finally decided to turn into a sauce or a puree several months ago because I was curious, because I was tired of eating just the rice and the sweet potatoes by itself. So I pureed that, put over the rice, and it was great. I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier. The tomatoes are more so to turn the sweet potatoes into more of a sauce, have a more zesty flavor, and also, again, it's a fruit, extra hydration, and that's about 2 tomatoes worth in there. So I'm getting a lot of extra water in my diet to be sure I'm hydrated, especially because of how active I am. And the avocados are, I wanted a little more fat in my diet, not too much. So I got avocados, which are they're rather cheap. Just having one or half of one per day gives it like a nice creamy texture into the sauce. So that's what I do. And the butternut squash not butternut squash, the acorn squash is more of just a temporary thing. I was at the market the other day and I saw that it was $1 a pound. So I decided to get 3 or so, but that's not a common thing in my diet. But I do love acorn squash. So if you ever wanted another carbohydrate source that isn't just a grain, I would definitely choose that. They're pretty good. But yeah, that's what I eat during the day. And I don't find myself ever changing what I'm doing. And yes, I do eat the same stuff every day. It's very easy to not have to worry about or be concerned about what I'm going to have each day. And I know what is in each thing, so I don't have to be so concerned about looking at calories to be sure I'm getting the right amount. It's very simple. It tastes good. It's what I like. So yeah, that is what I eat during the day. I hope you've enjoyed what you saw and might give it a try. And hope you have a good day.